we have a new big lie. That new big lie is that Israel is executing Palestinians. Yesterday, President Mahmoud Abbas accused Israel of putting to death, executing an innocent Palestinian boy. First of all, he's not dead. He's alive. Second, he's not innocent. He tried to kill, murder, knife to death an innocent Israeli youngster, 13 years old, riding a bicycle.
The Israeli Prime Minister there accusing Palestinian leaders of, in his words, lies and incitement. And moments before the Prime Minister spoke, the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry condemned the recent attacks.
We have, however, seen an eruption of tragic, outrageous, and unjustified attacks on innocent civilians who were simply trying to go about their daily business in Israel, the West Bank, Gaza, and Jerusalem. And it is important that we all remain deeply concerned about this recent violence. We strongly condemn the terrorist attacks against innocent civilians.
Joining me now is Israel's ambassador to the U.S., Ron Dermer. Ambassador Dermer, nice to see you. The country is effectively on lockdown right now. So what do you do to establish some peace for Israelis?
Well, we're not on lockdown. There are certain areas of the country that are of greater risk. One area where we're focusing on is in Jerusalem. There are Arab neighborhoods in Jerusalem, and we've had to send in a lot of police and some other forces in there to ensure that you don't have all of these attacks that you've seen over the last 2 or 3 weeks, that 8 Israelis have been murdered, and we've had 2 to 3 dozen attacks. And so we have to put a stop to that, and that's why the police are there.
I want to talk about a recent video that obviously it's gone viral effectively right now, as has this entire sort of situation in Israel. Social media has become such a powerful force. The video on our screen right now, in the eyes of Palestinians, it shows a 13-year-old boy being left to die by Israeli forces. Israelis say this is a knife-wielding attacker who had just stabbed 2 Israelis and was bleeding on the ground while they wait for an ambulance. What happened here?
Well, it's not a he said, she said. I think the case that you're speaking about is something that the Prime Minister just spoke about, where you had 2 young boys, one 13 years old, one 15-year-old, and we had them on video, actually, running around with knives. They took a 13-year-old Jewish boy, and they stabbed him multiple times. And then that 15-year-old went to go attack a police officer on video, and you see the knife, and then he was shot. And the other 13-year-old also tried to do more attacks, and he was also injured, but he's not dead. We do not target any of these people. What is happening is you're having attacks in different areas throughout the country where people are taking knives, stabbing and killing people, and our police are taking the action required
on screen right now. There's 2 of the Palestinians that were caught on closed-circuit television carrying knives as they chased Israelis in the streets.
That doesn't look, I don't know in what language that's innocent, but those people are chasing people with knives, and you'll see if you run that tape a little bit longer, you'll see that they attacked this little boy who is leaving a small market. Here it is. They're running with knives. These are the people who President Abbas says are innocent and who Israel is executing. So the leader of the Palestinians is accusing Israel of executing an innocent boy. Look, that's that kid around that circle, right? He's getting on his bike. It's a 13-year-old. It could be your son. It could be my son. He's going outside right now, and you'll see on the top of your screen, people are running, and he gets stabbed. And then if you roll the video just another 10 seconds, you will see that 15-year-old boy crossing a street, holding a knife, and trying to attack a police officer. Now people are trying to help. As you see in the video, they're running outside. So these people are running loose with knives, and now what are you going to do to stop it? I hope you'll roll that for another few seconds, because you'll actually see when the boy gets shot. Here it is. Yeah. Watch what happens. He's taking out a knife now. That's what's in that circle. And now he's running across the street, and he's shot. Now, what police officer would not do it in order to protect himself?
So what do you do right now to combat this situation where social media has become such a powerful force for so many young people without the context, these videos that are being spread right now? What do you do to combat social media when a lot of these individuals aren't allied with any specific terror group? They're just young individuals who are seeking paradise, perhaps.
Right. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to make a clear demand. The international community has to make a clear demand from President Abbas, or the Palestinian Authority, that he has to fully stop all this incitement and all the lies. It's one thing when you're dealing with a problem of social media that individuals are spreading. It's another thing.
You need the leaders to step up.
The leaders have to step up and stand firmly against terrorism. Abbas is not doing that. He's actually pouring more fuel on the flames. The other thing is we have to understand that this incitement problem has been going on for years.
Let me ask you what the State Department spokesperson John Kirby said, that the U.S. was, in his words, concerned about reports that could indicate the potential use of excessive force. Is this excessive force?
Absolutely not. I don't know what the State Department spokesman was talking about. You'd have to ask him. Is
there a middle ground beyond shooting these individuals?
Look, when somebody is coming at you with a knife, there is no middle ground. You have to actually take action in order to thwart that attack. Not everybody who's come at different people with knives have been killed, but there have been instances where a guy's taking a knife and he's going to kill somebody. Yeah. You know, they say guns kill people, knives kill people.
When
that's why you have to take action to stop. Well, we'll have to see. We know that he wants to do everything he can, and we appreciate very much the effort to do everything we can to de-escalate the tension. You know, last year we had a brief period where you had a bunch of attacks. You had people being run over.
Right.
There was a meeting between the King of Jordan, Secretary Kerry, and the Prime Minister. That led, I think, temporarily to a reduction. But what we really need to do if we want to solve this problem long term, we have to address the issue of incitement within Palestinian society. We have to look at what young Palestinian children are learning in their schools, what they're watching on television, and most important, we cannot have a Palestinian society that glorifies murderers and names public squares after killers. That has to stop, and the international community can help us getting the Palestinian leadership to stop.
Ambassador Domer, always nice to see you.
Thank you
for coming to be with us today. Up next, The Odd Couple. What a